So, this section we're going to talk about right now is titled The Big Secret. Why the elusive title? Because of the elusive topic. This section deals with studio acoustics and is, in my opinion, by far the most important section in this video. Have you ever done a mix and it sounded great, or at least sounded really good, and then you mix it down, you burn it to a CD, only to have it sound totally different and usually kind of bad when you take it and play it in your car, or you play it at home or on your friend's stereo? Do your mixes travel well? That's the big question. Quite often not. Most people have this problem with their home or project studios. Now, why does this happen and why is this so common? Well, don't feel alone on this one, and even some very expensive studios. I've seen studios that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars that have this problem.
Most of the time this happens not because of your speakers, though they could be part of the problem, but because of the way the room and your speakers interact to alter what you hear from your mixer. The purpose of this section is to help educate you on what these problems are and to offer solutions on how to fix these problems in order to help your mixes travel from your studio out into the rest of the world. Now, here are the topics we're going to be covering during this section. First, we're going to talk about noise floor, making your studio quiet. Next, I'm going to have a guest on to talk about standing waves or low frequency problems, early reflections, which are high and mid frequency problems, and the solutions. Also, an accurate and high quality studio will be more enjoyable to work in and will help you develop your ears to allow you to get the tones you want for your music. Understand that this is a very deep and technically complicated topic that we are going to try and cover in a very short amount of time. My goal is to give you a basic idea of how a physical space or a room interacts with your speakers to create what you hear. I'm confident that you will see significant results if you try some of these suggestions, but first, the problem. Why do your mixes sound so different in your studio than they do in the outside world? Well, when you went down to the music store and bought the speakers you are using to listen or monitor with in your studio, you might have noticed that they were most likely called reference monitors. What does the word reference mean in this context? Proper referencing is when the sound coming out of your speakers accurately reproduces the signal that is fed into the speakers from your mixer. Most people assume that what they are hearing from their speakers is an accurate representation of what is coming out of their mixer. Most often, this is far from true. And most often, the speakers are not the main problem, it's the room. The room affects what you hear dramatically. Now, how does the physical room that you mix and record music in affect what you are hearing and recording? Well, unless you spent some time setting up your room properly, then the effect can be dramatic, and I mean dramatic in a bad way. The room can actually have more of an effect on what you hear in the low frequency area, being roughly 300 cycles and below, than the speakers you own. In fact, in a square or rectangular room, it is not at all uncommon to have 15 to 20 dB bumps and dips, sometimes even more, in your low end. The room could also create some serious problems in the higher frequencies as well. Let's start with a simple but very important aspect of setting up your studio.